Welcome to Season 3 of the Builders Podcast. I'm Matt Levenhagen. Here we share the journeys, strategies, and lessons that help entrepreneurs build what's next. Builders helping builders. Enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another The Builders. Today, we are joined by Stephanie Sylvestre. Welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Thank you for having me, Matt.
So Stephanie is the CEO, co-founder of Avatar Buddy.
Yes.
Do you want to take a minute or two and let us know what that is? What is an Avatar Buddy and what you guys do over there?
Avatar Buddy is a managed AI as a service company. And what we do is we build AI agents and digital twins for you so that you don't have to figure out how to do that. And we have them leverage a small language model so that the data that they're using is safe, accurate, and vetted by you. And we provide AI advisory support to ensure that you are continuing to stay abreast of the AI revolution and maximize your AI investment. And our expectation is that your AI agents and digital twins will help amplify your employees to increase profitability and reduce costs through productivity, increase productivity.
Perfect. That sounds amazing. You sound like you're in the wheelhouse that everybody needs to be in today. Is the AI revolution. So
Exactly. And we're like, look, you don't need to build your own army. We'll be the army for you. We'll army for hire, and we'll go down and we'll make a path for you so that it's smooth sailing.
Love it. Well, we're going to get into all of that. And often is the case on the Builders, we might break this into a few different episodes. The first episode, when I have somebody on for the first time, assuming they want to do it, as we talk about your story, because we want to get to know you a little bit as the builder, building things. How was you as the builder created? And what your origin story is, what your journey's been like, and how you've landed doing the amazing thing you're doing with AI and everything else and helping people in the world. So with that, I'm going to throw it to you for a little while.
So my origin story, I was born in Belize, grew up in Belize, thought I would spend the rest of my life in Belize. Obviously, I was wrong on that one. And I moved to the US to go to college. I went to University of Southern California for undergrad. And then 2 months before I was about to graduate, there was an election in Belize and my dad's party lost. So my job and my life that I had in Belize waiting for me disappeared. So I moved to Miami, got a master's. If you've ever been to Miami in your 20s back, this is like 30 odd years ago, like while you're waiting for something to happen, Miami just kind of takes a hold of you. And I was like, when it was time for me to go back, I didn't really want to go back anymore because I was having fun in Miami. I mean, it was great. And I had a good job. I had some cool friends and partied a lot. And, I was just kind of like living the life. And so my dad said, you need to give back to Belize, so you should be the Honorary Consul of Belize. And the Honorary Consul is like a volunteer diplomat. And so when I became Honorary Consul of Belize in Miami, I was like the youngest Honorary Consul, and people kept thinking that I was the Honorary Consul's daughter. It was hilarious.
It's like, no way, you're the actual Honorary one.
And then, or like sometimes we would go to the events, and then they'll be like, okay, call up the Honorary Consuls to be acknowledged, or the Consul Generals to be acknowledged, and I would be up there. And they were like, where did you go? And or even funnier is when we would go to events and then they'd go talk to my mom because they would think that she's the Honorary Consul. My mom's like, I'm not the Honorary Consul. Yeah, I got to go talk to her.
Wow, did you enjoy doing that? I mean, were you?
Oh, of course, because you're Honorary Consul. I mean, you just think about that. Like, I was Honorary Consul for 8 years, and there was so much fun. Like, I have two terms that I coined in Miami. One is high season. So from October to April is high season, which means that everybody has events. And then in order to fit all the events in, you have to date stack, which means you might go to 3 events in one evening.
Oh my.
It's
Wow.
great.
You were, and these were fun events. These were.
Not all of them were fun. Some were more fun than others.
Hmm.
What we did was the first year we went to every single event we got invited to. Then the second year we started throwing away some invitations.
Right, right. That makes sense.
But I mean, some of the councils had they were put some good parties together. I mean, the Japanese never disappointed. They were
Really?
on point.
Well,
Colombians had some good
that
parties.
makes sense somehow.
The
I don't-
Haitians as well. The Haitians as well. The Haitians as well. But you had to be open to a late night when you were messing with the Haitians because it was
Mm, mm.
it was took a little bit to get up. And then of course the Caribbeans. That was Caribbean was like you gotta have stamina for an entire weekend for some of the events that were happening.
Holy smokes! Good thing that. So, what was you? What, besides the fun, what kind of what was your? I'm curious now. Like, what was your role? What did you just to build relationships and to like
Yeah,
just?
promote Belize, get Belize having a favorable thing. Most people, we were in Miami and people were like, what's Belize? By the time I
Hmm,
was finished, people knew what Belize was.
I gotcha.
We also provided diplomatic representation. So people needed to go to Belize and needed a visa. We did visa. We hosted the ministers of government and the prime minister when they passed through Miami. Had to get to entertain, get to know some of the Secret Service people, um, and had to do a couple of advocacy and call a few government entities to task because they weren't treating my prime minister the way I believed he should be treated. Those little minor things like that.
That sounds like an incredible experience. So that's a really it's a unique but a very sounds like a very valuable set of skills you probably picked up in those years.
Yeah, and so as a business owner today, I realize that I am much better at closing deals if it's an informal, like if we're at a party or at a dinner or something like that. Like if I'm just in a meeting, like I have a hard
Hmm.
time closing the deals in a meeting or like Zoom. I guess if we're on Zoom, like occasionally I'll meet some great people like you that there's chemistry over the Zoom, but most of the time they're like, but
Right.
yeah, like I can close the deal if I meet somebody in person. And so what we found out is it's cheaper to just have me get on a plane and go visit somebody for an overnight or 2 days than to like try and do everything via Zoom or electronically.
That makes sense because there's a lot to be said about the in-port person
Yeah, yeah, and,
meeting.
and
Yeah,
then
different toolkit
obviously,
you can use.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and then you learn how to navigate time bombs and diplomatic tensions because sometimes you also learn how to advocate for other people. We had to do a bunch of hurricane relief. Like one year, like 2004 and 2005, I was like, give me a break. As soon as we finished one hurricane relief, there was another one coming.
Yeah.
So we did a lot to just kind of advocate for Belize and put Belize on the map. And then in parallel, because I'm a volunteer diplomat, I had a corporate job. So I did corporate IT.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes.
So that you had been going to school. Is that what you were going to school for? Was IT and
Actually,
or
no. No,
no?
I have a master's in economic development and Latin American
Oh.
studies.
Ah.
So
Okay.
more
So
qualified.
where is IT come in? You had an interest in it, or you just fell into it?
I needed a job and Hewlett-Packard had an internship and I took the internship at Hewlett-Packard. And sometimes something happens in your life and you're like, I'm really lucky. But then like 30 years later, you look back and you go, whoa, was I really lucky. So one of the
I don't know.
guys,
I don't know if I've ever felt that.
well, one
I've
of the guys
I've had some luck.
one of the
Go ahead.
guys
Sorry.
yeah, I mean, I was just telling somebody like I'm very lucky. Even when it looks like it's going to go sideways, it always comes So I tell people nowadays, like, if you're on a ride with me, like, you have to be okay with going around the curve, going all the way to the edge. You have to promise not to blink, because if you blink, we will go over. One movement and we will go over. So this guy was one of the original coders for Unix.
Oh,
And, Hewlett-Packard had made their own version of Unix. And this is back in the 1990s. So, this stuff was just coming out. But if you know anything about computer, you know that Unix is pretty baked. And if your job is to maintain the Unix code, you really don't have anything to do. So he's bored, and I'm an intern, and I'm bored because they're like having me file papers. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And so he gave me a master class for 9 months on computers. And I was like, this is actually very easy, way easier than international relations. Because you know what? The computers will not get up and change your mind. Maybe I spoke a little bit too early, but back then, computers weren't getting up and changing their minds. Today, sometimes I wonder with the AI. I was like,
yeah.
You didn't say that the last time I asked you that question. Well, what gives?
Yeah, they mix it up a lot. Yeah.
Exactly. And so what I had was this great masterclass just for me, and we built out a piece of software back when the web was just coming out and you had to use Notepad to write your website. So we built a website to be able to query the database, and my website could get you the status of the order 2 days earlier than what the solution that the people were using. And that was like
nice.
the first foray into building stuff, like taking something and just iterating on it and making it better than what it was. And then I got into boutique consulting. And I don't know if you remember rapid application development, where just basically just give really buggy code to our customers. And I was like, this is not good.
Rapid is the important part. Quality.
Exactly. So I put a whole plan together about how we could improve the quality of the code that we were producing. Boss at the time laughed at me, and I was like, "It's not nice."
Like, we don't have time for that.
So I just picked up my ball and I went somewhere else, and I went to this really boutique consulting company. And for anybody out there that's trying to figure out what they want to do, going to a boutique consulting firm, not a big one, a small one, maybe 25, 30 people, is a great way to jumpstart your career, because one, you get exposure to all different kinds of workplace cultures, so you can decide which one works for you. Two, because you're smaller, you're getting to play more positions on the team, so your skill set grows faster. And three, like, there's still lots of perks to being a consultant even today. I mean, I remember one year I had enough miles that I went to Costa Rica for free for 5 days.
Oh, nice.
I didn't have to pay for a hotel. I didn't have to pay for the car. I didn't have to pay for the airfare. I don't know if
Can't beat that.
If it's that generous nowadays, but you get the picture.
Yeah, because you're doing a lot of traveling and just getting points and
having a good time.
You can cash in, and having a good time. Yeah.
Yes. And then I bought a condo, and I was like, maybe I kind of want to spend a little bit more time in my condo than like more than 4 days a month. And so then I quit and I went to work for Burger King.
And hopefully Burger not King, flipping burgers, but you were.
I was flipping burgers. I that was another great. People are like, "Where do you work?" And I'd be like, "Burger King." And they're like,
"This isn't."
No, I don't believe you. I was like, "What do you mean? You don't believe that I work for Burger King?" I was like, "Here's my badge. It says Burger King."
They don't see the whole stack of things you could be doing there. Immediately think you're behind the counter.
It's just really, but what it does is it gives you a very good insight into people's I don't want to say prejudice, but like their default way of thinking.
Yeah.
So just gives a really good insight into people's default way of thinking, um, and how when you're when you're out of place, people have a hard time understanding what you're telling them because
Mm.
the person's like standing there. Like I'm having this conversation, and we're at this party, we're hanging out. People are like, "Where do you work?" I'm like, "Burger King," and then like I just keep going, whatever. And then the person comes back and goes, "You don't work at Burger King." Just like what? I'm like, I was already moved on. That covers, and I was like, "Yes, I do. I work at Burger King." And then they're like, "Well, where at Burger King do you work?" And I was like, "Well, I do quality for Burger King, IT quality." And they're like, "You don't look like an IT person. You're not working at Burger King IT." I was like,
They wouldn't even believe that.
double whammy that night.
You have to look like what you do.
I don't. What does an
That's
IT person look like?
not you, apparently. I guess you have an image of one, but in your, I mean, I
Dilbert.
don't know where it comes from.
I guess back then Dilbert was big. I guess
Yeah,
I didn't
right.
look like a Dilbert. So and then I did sabbatical. I just was getting a little jaded with life, and I was like, one day I went to lunch, and this is back in the early 2000s. I went to lunch, and I spent $100 for lunch for just me and my mom, and I was like, wait a minute, this is not good. I am losing my way in life. I should like $100 lunch back in.
Back then, yeah. Today, maybe it's just
I mean, today
very
that's like
normal
just
today.
normal. Like
Yeah,
I was like, what? It was only $100. I got away.
yeah, yeah. But
So, so I was just feeling like I don't think that this is a path that I want to go down. So I took a sabbatical. Happened to be in 2008. The
mm,
only good thing that was good about that was I had crashed out my 401k before the market crashed. So
well,
I'd
that was
locked in.
lucky.
It's
Some more
very
of that
lucky.
luck.
Just random luck. And I went to inner city in Miami, and I helped run that organization for about a year until I ran out of money, and then I had to get hired again. And I was again right. This is really interesting because I'm going to I'm going to interview, and people are like, nobody's hiring Stephanie. Like you're absolutely insane.
Mm.
And 6 weeks later, I got a job, and when I saw the job listing, like one of my friends said, Stephanie, go apply for the job, and I was like, but they're paying me $20,000 less than I want. And mind you now, like I pretty much ran out of cash. I no almost no cash left.
Mm.
Um and and they're looking at me like I was like they were looking at me like the nerve of you to think that you could decide which price you should what you should get compensated when you're out of money. But that's again right. Conviction. Like
Mm.
I was not going to sell myself short because I knew that they were going to get way more out of me, even if they paid me at the rate that I wanted. Um, and I will say that one of the things in my journey as a startup, there were many a times that I had self doubt, and because I had self doubt, I lost the contract, or I lost the opportunity because I I would say, why would they work with me? And
Right.
then the moment you put that in your head, everything else that you do reinforces that. And
A
and,
lot,
and so
a lot of
it
it's
was
mental.
again it,
You have to have conviction
it,
and really believe in
it,
yourself.
exactly. So my friends like Stephanie, just go for the interview. So I for the interview, and I haven't even gotten back home yet, and I live like 15 minutes from this place, and they were like, we will hire you if you want the job at the price that you want. And then they're like, we just have one last thing. As long as our CIO signs off on it, we're good to go. So I go, okay. So I go in to go meet the CIO, right?
Hmm.
So that Sunday, the Miami Herald had done a spread on me in the neighbors. Why was the Miami Herald doing a spread on me in the neighbors? Well, because I was doing Habitat for Humanity Women's Build, and I had just convinced about 300 women to brave the Miami heat to go build this woman's house for her.
Oh, wow.
And they were doing a spread about this person that quit their job at the height of the recession, which I did not know there was a recession because I obviously would not have quit my job quite dead. And
Right.
and how she was giving back and all that stuff. So the guy the CIO comes in, right? And he sits down and I sit down. And he looks at me, he goes, "I know you." And I was like, "Okay." I was like,
Is that good or bad?
I was like, I don't know. I have no idea. He's like, "You were in the paper yesterday." So enthralled that I'm on the paper. All he can talk about is the fact that I was in the paper and Habitat. I think we ran over and I got the job.
That's awesome. Wow.
Just because I believe that
Timing. Yeah.
that luck again.
Wow.
And then I think the thing that still I remember about that job was he two things. One, he really helped me lean into gratitude. He really helped me see that like I am very, very, very lucky because like the stuff that I talk about, people are like, "What? Like
Hmm.
who does that? Who goes to the edge and not fall off?" No, but and then who goes consistently to the edge and not fall off? And then the second thing about it is the fact that if you care about the people around you, you don't have to worry about yourself.
Hmm.
So instead of focusing on you, focus on people around you. And so I have
That's great advice.
this one story. So this guy, his name's George. George, we're there, we're having a great time. Wonderful, wonderful work environment. Probably the absolute best place that I ever worked. Maybe Avatar Buddy will soon top that because at some point in time I will start winning with Avatar Buddy because but for right now we're neck and neck.
Believe you
He
got to believe in it. You will do this.
Oh no 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 no
Yeah.
no! I'm confidently going into 2020 into the holiday season that we're poised to not crash, crush 2026. We
Hope.
have all of the stuff in line.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna be spending December fortifying every last thing. Like, I tell people it's like the IKEA furniture. I'm going back and I'm tightening every knot now because I've put the furniture together and it's
Hmm.
correct.
Right. Right now you can tighten it all up. Yeah.
I could go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm taking the month and I'm just going around. I'm tightening up all the screws. So anyway, but back to George. So we were on two floors of a building, and he would come and he would like one day we're in this elevator together, right? Like, so it's just one floor. So I'm in the elevator. He gets on the elevator. He goes, "Hey, Stephanie, do you have enough work to do?" He gets off the elevator and walks away.
What?
I was like, "What?" 3 days. I'm 3 days. I'm trying to find him. I'm like, because I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah. What does that
So
mean?
so then I finally track him down, and he's like, "Oh, I have an assistant for you." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I have an assistant for you. This guy, this kid, blah blah blah." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "I don't know if I need an assistant, but okay." He's like, "You have to take him, otherwise he's gonna get fired." So I was like, "Okay." And so I have this kid, and we're every week like I'm trying to groom him into an employee and get him all. And once a week, we would have this session where I draw on the board, I draw a circle, and I would say technical skills. Then I draw a circle around it, I would say soft skills, and then I would just write whirl around. And and my thing was to get him to understand that he was smart, but because he was doing all these things, his soft skills were getting in the way of the world seeing his awesomeness.
Mm.
So work on this kid for, I don't know, like maybe 9 months. And then one day his dad calls me and his dad's like, can we go to lunch? I'm like, sure, why not?
Just random things happening to you.
So I go to lunch with his dad and him as well, and his dad starts to cry. And I'm like, okay, this is a little bit uncomfortable, but fine. So I was like, okay. And so he's like, you don't know, like he had meningitis when he was a kid and he lost a third of his brain, and you're the only person that's been able to get him to keep a job for this long, and I'm so thankful for you.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. And he's like, how did you do it? And I'm like, how did I do what? And I said, I treated him, I set expectations, I held him to his expectations, I helped him reach the expectations, but I did not let him out of his expectations. And what I learned from that experience was that anybody will rise to the occasion if you respect and have expectations and hold them to their expectations. And that was like the start of Avatar Buddy, even though I didn't know it at the time. Because if you could give people one loving adult in their life that believes in them more than they believe in themselves. So at that moment in time, he needed somebody to believe in him more than he believed in himself. And I was that person.
And you didn't. And the other thing, I think you didn't treat him any differently. You just treat him like a
No.
human. You didn't like think about. I don't even know if he knew about his disability or whatever you call
not
it.
not until his dad told me. But I did say to my boss, I was like, he's a little I think he's a little off. My boss is like, what are you going to do about that? I was
Don't
like,
worry about that.
well, I was like, what can I do about it? I can't do anything about it. We're just going to work with it.
Work with what you have. Yeah. Yeah.
And so like our AI agents, they're designed to do both will and skill. It's not just about automation of work tasks. It's about amplifying you, making you feel good about figuring out the answer. It's about making you feel confident to do things that you're afraid to do because you do not think you can do it. It's about making mistakes in private in a judgment-free place. And so many people who have come from low resource background, their constant thing, they say they like Avatar Buddy because it's judgment-free.
Yes. I love when a story is woven and there's some kind of moment like you just talked about that inspires something, like you wouldn't make the connection. Like that's the inspiration behind it though. And you translated that experience onto, well, how can we do this for more people, I imagine? And how can we leverage AI to do it? And AI is uniquely positioned, or like, I mean, I use AI and it's very supportive. Just, public models that are out there and stuff that, if you can get advice, you can get, and it is judgment free, like you're talking about. But now you have your private version of that where you can even get probably more personal. Like you're not going to, you're going to tell it things that you wouldn't normally tell just a random chat GPT out there or whatever. That's amazing. That's a really, really cool foundation.
Yeah. So, I mean, when somebody asks me what's the proudest thing I've done, that's always number one. The fact that I took somebody that almost everybody had
Right.
given up on, and I transformed them, and nobody knew what I was doing. And I remember I was in a meeting with this other guy. He and I always were at it, right? And he wanted me to do something, and I said, I'm not doing that. And he's like, it's okay. I'm gonna go ask this other my mentee. And that moment, I knew I was successful because he didn't know that I could have told him he can't do it.
Hmm.
But the fact that he saw him as an employee at a caliber and competent enough to go do what he wanted done, and he, in my mind, I'd been successful. And
Right.
that was 10 years before we started Avatar Buddy. I was like, how do you scale this? This is not scalable, but it needs to be scalable.
Yeah.
And the way I scaled it was I was working at another entity, and I was in charge of programming and I was in charge of IT. And it's a local government funding organization. And I was just kind of frustrated that we were at 87% capacity. We would be happy. I was like, who goes to the bank with a $100 bill and gets $87 back and be happy with that? Why is this okay? And in 2016, I'm at dinner one night with this woman. Like, I had gone to this conference and I saw her present, and I'm like, I want her to be my friend. So I went
Okay.
up and I asked her if I could get her email address, and I very diligently and focused worked to get a dinner engagement with her. And we went out to dinner, and she's telling me all this stuff, and I'm hearing some of it, but it's loud, and there's a lot of like overstimulation. And I thought she said, create a digital twin. And I was like, that's it. Let's just create a digital twin for everybody that needs help. That's not what she said.
That's not what she said. Your brain was way ahead of you. It was like, this is how we're interpreting whatever she said right now. This is the idea.
But I said, but isn't that a great idea? Let's do that. And she's like, yes. And that's how Avatar Buddy was born.
So you with her, with your new friend?
No,
you did this?
She just gave me the idea, and then she went.
She just
off
gave you the idea.
And we're now great friends. She moved to Tucson, which I sometimes get annoyed that she's left me, but she's coming back to Miami. We're getting together next week.
Nice.
She said she's one of my advisors. And then
I love that. I love it. So I just got to pause you here because I don't know if you ever read the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
Popular out there. There's a part of that story, and I'm not going to remember all the details, but it's been a little while. But where somebody they like made a decision that they were going to go work for somebody. They're going to work with this person or whatever. And it kind of illustrates the journey of it wasn't quite that straightforward, struggle to kind of become that person's. I'm probably murdering the whole thing. Anyway, that's what it reminded me of. I'm like, you made a decision. You're like, I need somebody just really captured you, something you loved about them. And you're like, I want to become this person's friend. And it sounds like then you worked, you got the email, and then you got the dinner date or whatever, and away you go. I mean, well, that's like, some people would be just like, I'm never gonna, you see somebody and you wouldn't think of doing that. You would, or you'd give up at some point.
She was just still fascinated. I'm still fascinated by her. She's still fascinated. I was like,
just
oh
about
my
what
God.
she was saying or what she was like.
I just loved her energy. I feed off of people's energy, less about what they're saying and more about their energy. And then she was like saying all the things that I was like, yes, it can be different. It does not have to be this way. And I was at the point where I was like, we can do something different. It is not okay for us to spend all this money and get 87% utilization and be happy. No, we should be at 12% utilization. That's when we should be happy.
So explain that a little bit more, the 87% versus what is that referencing exactly?
Like when you're grading the programs to say how good they are, like almost no program has 100% utilization because of the population that's being served. There's a lot of inconsistency that happens and so forth, right?
Hmm.
And then there's also like there's a lot of barriers. I don't want to. That's like an entire show that we can get
Right.
into
Yeah.
on that. But the long and short of it is that people say that there's so much need, and then when you fund for all these needs, you still don't oversubscribe for. You're not giving enough money. You're not giving away enough money to cover all the needs. So the fact that we're not giving away enough money to cover all the needs means that we should be over providing services, not under providing services.
Gotcha.
So, like, if you pay for 100 kids to go to after school and you get 87 show up consistently, then you're winning. And I was like, how about have
Yeah.
105 show up every
Yeah. Get some extra ones. Different mindset. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like that, and she helped me think about things differently, and we did get some different results, and were able to make some great progress. And from that organization, two great things came out. One was Avatar Buddy, and two was winning CIO of the year. And sitting with the fact that people said that I was a token winner, that I could not possibly been competent enough to have won the CIO of the year, given how I look and how I sound. And then not 4 months later, COVID happened, and our organization was one of the few globally that we were like, laptop, power cable. They're like, that's a disaster recovery plan. I was like, yeah, there's no disaster to recover from. Laptop, power cable. We were ready for COVID. We were ready for remote work, and we would not have been had I not had the vision. So I'm owning that. Like, I usually say it's a team effort, but no, it was my vision.
Yeah.
It was just my
That's okay.
vision.
You have bragging rights. That we had a guest on our podcast a couple of years ago, and she had a book about bragging. It's okay. It's okay to brag sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. So I say we had, in the years leading up to that, come up with a 6 URL or less strategy. 6 URLs or less to do your job. And then we actively moved almost all of our IT spend from capital expenditure to operational expenditure. Can't shut me down if it's an operational expenditure.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you can shut me down, but you don't want you want to stop getting emails? Okay, fine.
Yeah,
works for me.
Right. Good call.
And so when I think back on my journey as an entrepreneur, I remember the struggles that I had to go through at that company. And once I understood what is it that we're doing, all started to click in. Because I could understand it, all the pieces clicked in together in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I could explain to people. And we're like, what do you do? Manage AI as a service. We're doing it all. I'm not a consultant. You cannot come and use my platform to build your own AI agents. What we are is a full solution. We're partner with you because AI is very dangerous. And if you don't know what you're doing, you will create more harm than good. But if you know what you're doing, you will amplify people. You will take them to the next level. And we can roll out AI and we can make money. And for a while, I was obsessed with the money. And then one day I just said, stop focus on the money. As soon as I stopped focusing on the money, the deals started coming, and deals that I was hoping that we could get.
Yeah. So sorry, you got something to add?
No, go ahead.
No, I say, so Avatar Buddy, I feel like we could have a part 2 just talking about that and kind of the tech behind it, what it can all do, and who it's helping, and the stories behind it, and everything else. But why don't we take it just a minute? You get an amazing story. We've landed here. Everything that you've done, all the luck you've had, all the hard work you've done, and all the surprises and the awards you've won, and all of that has come to this point where you now have this vision for Avatar Buddy to help people, and you call it a digital twin. So I'm imagining, when I hear that, I'm replicating myself somehow. But this twin has some kind of superpower or something, because it must be, or like it creates a baseline of some sort that you can talk to, and it helps you. And tell us a little bit. Spend a little time telling us about that.
So when you go back to thinking about digital mentors, right? I didn't want generic digital mentors. I wanted mentors fashioned after people. And for about 5 years, people said I was absolutely insane. You can't do that, Stephanie. It can't be done. It can't be done. Then I remember I met this guy who had done Bina 48. I don't know how much you're into this space, but the person that created Sirius Radio, it's a she. He started out life as a he and then transitioned to a she. Created a bus of her wife, and you could ask some questions. That was in 2017. It was $180,000. Took 6 months to create, and very unreliable. Fast forward to 2023, where we were able to create a digital twin in about just to digitize the personality. Took 2 hours, and it was okay.
What were you using to do it? Just like a questionnaire or something, or just recording?
A personality quiz with a rubric, and we had a therapist interpret it.
Oh, okay.
Then we evolved it, and we created an AI agent that could interpret the questionnaire. And so that took us down to, if it takes you 20 minutes to create the questionnaire, it takes us about 10 minutes for the AI to convert. So half an hour, we can digitize your personality. Half an hour, digitize your personality. Then we realized that it was okay, but not enough. So we have now an interview guide that we interview you about your life history. And depending on how verbose you are, what you've done, and your age, that can run anywhere from like an hour to 4 hours. We used to make people do one sit-in, but there were lots of emotional fallouts. The men kept crying. So now we break it into pieces.
Men kept crying.
The men cry.
Because they were just opening up, and they have...
I guess so.
Okay.
I was...
It's not anything wrong with crying. I mean, sure I have things to cry about myself.
But it was interesting, because now we can, in 5 hours, we can create a digital twin of you that's about 80% accurate.
So it talks like you? Is this just like a text interface, or is it?
It's a text interface, but it has voice. It has audio, so it has your voice,
your voice too.
Your audio voice and your sentiment voice.
What's that? What's the difference?
Well, your voice, how you process the world, how you would answer a question. So we did a launch, and we brought the 2 humans, and then we put their digital twins up in the back, and then we asked the human the question first, then we asked the digital twin the question to see how close.
Compare the answers, and were they close?
They were pretty close.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good test, actually.
Yeah,
because if they truly think like you do, they have the same kind of worldview and map, they should be able to. Interesting.
And then somebody said, one person is a politician, and somebody said, I think you're just using a digital twin to influence elections. And I said, I don't think so. And we're like, she would never do that. So then, we got into a back and forth. I was like, let's ask the digital twin. The digital twin said, this is what you would need to do. this is how you should approach elections, but I can't tell you who to vote for.
Mm,
Those
yeah,
guardrails that we've put on there.
that makes sense.
So so in March of 2026, we're gonna launch a metaverse of digital twins. It
Wow,
took
you're
10
you're going
years,
all the way
but
there. You're going. So you're going to have a virtual space.
a virtual space is built in, and then depending on what tier the person gets, they either have a personal room with their digital twin where they can have other links to other things about themselves and other artifacts and YouTubes and all that, or they can share a room with somebody else.
There's so much potential there. A lot of things you
Yeah,
can do. Yeah,
yeah.
imagine having a whole ballroom full of just hanging out with everyone with their digital twins and
So now I want to know how I've heard about Matt, and I want to learn more about him. But he doesn't have time to mentor me because he's a business to run. I go, oh look, there's this digital Matt, and I talk to digital Matt, and I get asked all my questions. I share my thoughts, my feelings. Digital Matt guides me.
this makes a lot of sense. This like maps to where we're headed just in general. Like everyone's going to have like a version of themselves and this is like I feel like you're on a kind of the cutting edge of that. So I mean ultimately at the end of the day to the purpose and the why behind what you're doing is to help the individual to guide them or to have basically they can talk themselves off the cliff or something or whatever that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, using AI to help people be the best versions of themselves. So, milestone one was being able to create a digital twin in a cost effective way. Milestone two was to be able to scale it because it takes 5 hours. Milestone three is the metaverse, and milestone four is the personality chip. So we take your personality and we implant it on a chip. We put some therapeutic supports into that chip. We baseline your biometrics and brain waves. We give all of that to that chip, that AI that's being powered by an AI. We inject it into your wrist or your shoulder. And whenever you're out of equilibrium, the AI wakes up and says, Matt, you're good? Do you need some help? And then because it knows what therapeutic intervention makes sense for you to get back to equilibrium, it helps you. Or you can say,
Kind
no,
of
no.
like kind of like having like a therapy dog or something like that like senses kind of smells your something about you is off and goes and gets you water and sits you down and I feel
Yeah,
like you've seen those videos where they do
yeah,
that they similar
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
yeah
So the whole point is, if we can consistently maintain equilibrium, we can always be the best version of ourselves. When we
hmm.
gotta come out of equilibrium, we can't. And it's when we come out of equilibrium is when we have problems, and most of the time we are not living in equilibrium.
This is good stuff okay
This is it.
so
I'm stopping here.
so so yeah it's funny you know we're actually in season 3 of the builders and one of my things with season 3 was we're going to have shorter episodes because we're going to split them up more we're going to be
Yeah.
more focused but this is the second one in a row where we've gone just as long as the other ones we just have more of you more episodes but no we'll continue if you'll have me back as your host
I would love
and
to
you
be
as the
back.
guest um, that we'll have a part 2 because I'd really like to dig more into that tech and if you don't mind sharing even just how the tech itself
Absolutely.
evolved and stuff because obviously find that fascinating as a tech guy. But I think there's so much there and now and it's you're not just building something like today you got the whole vision the roadmap to just transform people and leveraging it's Yes, we'll get all into that. But thank you for sharing your story today. It's amazing I love, one of the things I love about being in this seat is hearing people's stories, but just, and being able to kind of see the thread, like how everything kind of influenced you, people and situations and the luck, and all this found you to where you are today, and doing the amazing things you're doing in the world. So, which you are. But yes, so with that, Stephanie, we'll call part one done. And until next time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Builders Podcast. One more quick note about our sponsors. At Unified Web Design, we're passionate about doing better together, partnering with agencies and businesses to deliver exceptional web design, development, and ongoing support. And UnifiedLabs.ai is where we explore smart, practical ways to integrate AI directly into your website and e-commerce flows. From intelligent chatbots to marketing automation to back-end reporting, all with a strong focus on user experience and making your systems work smarter. If you haven't already, subscribe or follow to stay updated on future episodes. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, sharing it with someone who might benefit helps us grow this amazing community. Until next time, keep building smarter, bolder, and with purpose.